Well, today with Straight Talk, I'm with industry icon Bill Yeadon. Bill, I see you have your background there promoting John Don.
I'll tell you what, got my shirt on, got my backdrop. I'm official. This way I get paid.
Well, I hope so. Obviously, direct deposit, you're not going to pick up a paycheck in person.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, in my office, you can see my background is just stuff, classes I've taken, magazines to inspire me. I've had some say, why do I have magazine covers on my wall? Well, sometimes I turn around and look at them and go, what next? So it's
exactly
like inspiration.
Yeah. And each one of them brings back a moment in time. It's like looking through your album collection. Yeah. Albums, those are those vinyl things, remember them? Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen those. I do want to talk about music today with you in a moment. So
all right.
Got a little surprise for you.
Okay.
But something I noticed when I was when we scheduled this Straight Talk segment, I was looking on Facebook, and we have something in common. 1,241 mutual friends right now, you and me.
Really?
Do you know all your friends on Facebook?
Heck no. No, I think I'm up to 2,500 all told, but I look and see if they're in our industry. Even if I don't know them, I accept them. You're probably the same way.
The same way with Facebook. I have some personal friends that are like, how do you have so many friends? I'm like, well, it's a business thing. I know a lot of them, as you do, and we engage with them, but it's more of a, an industry thing, and it's great. I do use like Instagram for personal stuff, and I do Twitter, and, not as good as Donald Trump does Twitter. But
well, he's got a little trouble with that today.
It makes great entertainment on the late night talk shows.
Yes,
that's for sure.
And they're starting to put a little tag on his now.
Yes,
that should be interesting.
Well,
but I'm sure we're not here to talk about politics.
Well, we can talk about politics. We will talk about the industry in a few minutes. So, those watching this, if you're wondering why you're wasting your time listening to two guys talk about politics and maybe some music, hang on. We're going to talk about the industry as well. But I do want to run a little sound clip here. I want you to tell me what this is. Are you ready?
Okay.
Got your speakers on?
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. Are two songs from a friend of mine here in Columbus, Kevin Smith, and I told him I would send this to him when it's done. He is so good at music that if you name an artist and a song, he can then tell you the lyrics.
Okay.
He has an amazing memory with that. I personally listen to the radio and I don't know anything about music, so he helped me compile this playlist.
Okay.
All right, here's the first one. Could you hear it?
I can hear a little bit of sound like Chuck Berry to me in the background, but I'm not hearing it real well. Sounds like an old AM radio from when I was a kid.
Well, that was Johnny Burnett, Train Kept a Rollin'.
Oh, okay. I know Johnny Burnett. Yeah, he also did Sweet 16 and a couple others like that. Yeah.
I'll turn this up a little bit. Here's another one that Kevin said you'll probably get this one wrong.
All right.
Here we go.
Oh, Lies by the Knickerbockers.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, he said most say it's the Beatles. Well, I'm glad you can hear it.
It does sound, but back in the 60s, everybody wanted to sound like the Beatles. The Bee Gees and a lot of the others, early Bee Gees sound a lot like the Beatles.
Yeah, I was a real little kid in the 60s. You probably were.
I was too, but I was an older little kid.
Here's one that I think I could have got. Here we go.
That's REO Speedwagon.
That's right. Time for us to fly.
Yep.
Yeah. You didn't know you'd be put on the spot here today, did you?
No, I didn't.
Maybe we should get your wife to help. Yeah, let's do one more.
Okay.
See if you can hear this one.
It sound like, was it Bob Dylan?
Yes, you got it.
Okay.
I
get just little blurbs. Plus, if I would known this, I would put my hearing aids in.
Don't talk about that. You'll age yourself. All right. Well, that was great. Obviously, you learned a lesson that a better sound system might be needed for Name That Tune.
That's true. Yes.
Well, very good. No, I know you're great at music. In fact, your iPod, when we do classes together, when you have that playlist, it's pretty fantastic.
It's pretty eclectic. You got to realize
Eclectic.
that
There you
I
go.
I started listening probably when I had a 9-volt transistor radio that I used to slip under my pillow at night, so my mom didn't know. So there was no such thing as FM. That was pretty far back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've collected quite the collection over the years, and don't
I've
lose
got
that
over
iPod.
over 600 albums that I still have. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I remember back in the day spinning the albums and and 8 tracks, of course.
Yeah.
Those days are gone. But I think you probably still have a few albums in your house.
600 of them. Yeah, somewhere in
Oh,
that range.
the physical
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, cool.
Yep.
Hey, let's talk about the industry, Bill. It's
Okay.
been a long time since we've been at an event, a training event in person. What do you have on your calendar? What's coming up? Maybe John Don classes or your personal travel. What do you see?
Well, yeah, personal travel. I've had to cancel so many, both personal and business. What we are doing is my daughter's turning 40 in a couple weeks on June 13th. She's wanting to go to see the wild ponies in Grayson Highlands State Park in Virginia, which is part of the Appalachian Trail. So we got a cabin on the North Carolina, Virginia border. So we're going to go there, and then at the end of the month, we're going to go to my favorite place, which is the Smoky Mountains, the whole family. We have a cabin there for a week. Now we figure, with all the things going on, we're still going to be outside. We're still going to be just with the family. So we're trying to do it as safe as possible. But, everything I've read says that, being outside, you have 1 in 19 of occurrences happen outside on COVID. So, I mean, if you're outside, you're such a dilution that I don't think it's an issue. I realize I'm in that age group that I'm a little risky. Actually, in my age group, I'm a lot risky, but I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I think so. You're a pretty healthy guy. In fact, there's a mountain down in the Smokies you like to climb. It's
Mount LeConte. Yeah.
How many times so far?
I got my 75th time, which was my goal last July. I'll be back there in the end of June.
Okay. Do you climb up the same trail or?
Not all the time. There's 5 different trails, but I do one about 80% of the time. It's the steepest, but it's shortest. It's 5 miles up, and it's about 3,000 feet of elevation gain. So about 600 feet per mile. But I've had a lot of people go up there, Dave Howard and a lot of other people within that have joined me. This last time when we did 75 by 75, we actually had 22 people with me.
So who made it to the top? Who was first at the top?
Actually, Chris Colbeck, who
Okay.
he was down there. I was kind of staying back to make sure that everybody got up.
You wanted to catch them as they come.
Exactly. Yeah. So
yeah, I saw
it was real
Chris.
bad if somebody died on the trail.
Yeah. I saw Chris a while back. I think he runs marathons, or he's a runner.
Yes, he does, and he just about ran up that one too.
Show off that he is. I hope he watches this, and we'll
tell him.
Here we're talking about him. Yeah. No, that's cool. So when you go up a mountain like that, how hard is it? Do you have to be in shape? Is it something you could just go slowly?
I'll tell you what, it's surprising to see the people that go up, and it all depends. The people that are in shape go up, and they go up very fast. Mm-hmm. And then you have the people who aren't in shape, but are just there for the experience. They go up very slow, but everybody gets there. It's kind of the turtle and the hare, so I tend to want to go fast.
Yeah.
As usual. I always find that if you're going uphill, it's the old saying, if you're going through hell, keep going. Or it's kind of the same thing going up a mountain. Don't stop.
Well, if you ever invited me to do this, I would probably be looking for a Hampton Inn about halfway up.
Using those Hilton points.
Yeah. Really? Yeah, I'd go really, really slow. No, that's cool. I love following your commentary on your climbing that mountain. It's pretty cool. So tell us about classes. We see that IICRC has approved online classes, and I know you folks with John Don are doing those. Yes. When are we going to be back in the classroom?
Somebody just asked me that this morning, and my personal thing, and I'm not in charge of this, of course, I'm hoping we can do something live August. I really do. That's actually our next strategies class is scheduled for August 3rd in Denver, and we, of course, missed a couple strategies classes, and that's a big deal for us, so it's our week-long class. There are other ones. I know Barry Costa's chomping at the bit. He's like a caged animal right now, but
I
he's
bet
getting
he is.
himself in great shape right now. And he's just been working on his online part, which will also be his live class. And he's just having the best time. And he thinks that this opportunity is the best thing that's ever happened to him. Because as you know, Barry, he's continuously on the road.
He is.
And so this, even though it was forced upon him, was the best thing that's ever happened to him. So I think that's great. I think Sean Bission, who's doing a lot of our carpet, upholstery, and odor classes, he's doing a great job, but he's all set up in his warehouse, and he's still doing as much hands-on as he can within the limitations of a camera. But I think he's doing a great time. I think a lot of us, especially the older of us, and as you know, we have a lot of older instructors, it's still a big change. Doing a PowerPoint and doing it for several hours on a TV is difficult.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it only because I'm on salary at John Donne. I didn't need to get additional funds where I want to make sure our instructors who didn't have opportunities would get this. And Sean's doing a great job with it.
Yeah, I see a lot of folks a lot of instructors. I do some classes too, and I'm not doing the online either. I'm just going to wait till the classrooms are open again.
Yeah.
I'll leave it to the smarter ones to handle the online. But you're right. When I think about doing something online for hours, that's pretty tough to be engaged.
It is.
But I do know we have some very talented IICRC instructors who can make that happen.
Yeah, and I'm glad. I think it kind of forced their hand, IICRC.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they were quite ready for this, even though we should have been.
We were talking about it for a long time.
I know it. And it was kind of like Barry. It was the opportunity, and we jumped into the fire, as they said. I think we've got a big meeting at the end of July to approve it, because this is actually a temporary thing, right? The approval, and in July they will maintain it.
Yeah.
And I just had I not to air dirty laundry or anything, but I was just on the committee for RRT, the repair. And the vote came down, should that be allowed to be an online class or not? I voted against it. I truly believe, and you are a color repair instructor.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that and repair installation, I think those are you really need to do them correctly. And so I voted against it. I lost, but that's
yeah. I think I saw the vote, and I knew that it wasn't unanimous to do that.
Yes.
So now we know who was the no. If there's only one of them, I don't know if there was more than one, but no, you're right. Color repair technician class, that one is my favorite because of the hands-on.
Yes.
And it's science and it's art, and you give all your students their supplies, and everyone has a great time together. But it's a team effort.
Yes.
And I suppose you could do it over the internet, but they have to have the supplies. There's so much with the hands-on that it would be tough.
Yeah, and I think you can, like carpet and that, you're going to learn that pretty quickly. The actual cleaning of carpet. But I think doing a complicated repair, with a stitch over Berber or something, that's not something you can just watch and kind of go, oh, that's how you do that.
Yeah.
If you don't even have the tools in your hands to say, what does he mean by that type of a tool? You got to have them, I think. And I think that's important.
Well, the engagement is important,
Yes.
Just being together. And we do what we are doing because we have to. And I'm sure, and I hope that IICRC continues with the online component, because there's a place for all of it.
No, I agree. I think, and Barry had suggested this when we were doing the RRT course. He says, well, why not have one day where it's basically you're online and you're learning from your manual, and then you have a second day that's going to be at a distributor, such as a John Donne, where you come in and now you're actually going to do the repairs. It was kind of the whole idea that they had, with Barry when they were working on that program, to get more of that physical training to prove you can do it. And I still think that's an important cog that we need to go to at some point.
Yeah, the skills testing, I think that was around.
Sure.
Let's talk about your own webinar series. What's the title of that? It's
basically expert interviews, and
you haven't had any yet, though, have you?
Yeah, well, I've I'm still waiting for you, the ultimate,
No,
you notice I've been building,
right.
to
Thank you for that.
crescendo. Yes.
Yeah, you've had some
And
great experts. You've had some
what
great
was kind of
experts.
funny how we actually got into it was I watched early on, I guess it was probably early March, where Sean Bission was on with John Braun. All right.
Yeah.
And I have to give credit to Sean because he started talking about Dr. Michael Berry and cleaning for health and everything. And of course, I've been through all that back in there, but I really had not been pushing that as hard. Right. And when I listened to it, I said, wow, that was a great job. And I sent a copy to Dave Howard, my boss. And I said, this is really cool. And of course, Dave goes, well, you can do that. And I said, okay, that's great. And I thought, month or so, I think the next Tuesday they had a program, and Thursday I was doing the first one with Barry Costa. So it was a learning, it's just a totally different, but I've had such great people on there. Like tomorrow I've got Jim Pemberton, I know, a good friend of yours. And I've had my really good friends that I've had for just a long time that are all industry veterans that got a lot of knowledge about what we're doing. So it's just been great fun. We've had a much greater turnout than I ever thought we had. We still have some problems with the internet and the software that I think too many people get dropped off as occasions. But I think it's been something we haven't sold a single thing on any of the interviews. It's all been about the information. It's all been about just basically how can we move forward, I think, and in these difficult times, because we keep hearing the word unprecedented. We keep hearing that, but yes, we know that there's the opportunities. I always go back to that Chinese symbol that's, the opportunity on one side and danger or crises on the other side, but they come together. And as you've seen, talking to people, there are some people that are just going to come out of this just charging full ahead. And there's other people that are just kind of lagging behind. But that's been something in our industry for a long time. And as Barry likes to tell everybody, this is our opportunity to shine.
So that's true about some will come out of it doing well and some won't. In fact, on a social media post, I think yesterday I saw one comment was in a specific state, they're doing fantastic. Their business is crazy. They're making money. And someone else in that same area is like, we got nothing.
Yes.
So I think what people need to do, this is just me thinking here, spitballing, is watch these interviews, get online and see what everyone's doing and change what you're doing, because there's no reason why we can't all be thriving if we embrace some change that we need to do with our companies.
I agree. Yesterday, I went through the original Siri seminar, which was really good. And that was hard. You got to sit there for 9 hours and watch that.
Long day.
Those are pretty smart people. So you kind of occasionally start to nod off a little bit, but they sent out yesterday they sent out this document, their pandemic response. Excellent stuff. So there's so much great material that's available to us. And for the people that have been sitting home anyway, hopefully they've been taking advantage of this time to sit in on, and most of these have all been free webinars and that. Doyle's done a couple of great ones, and what you're doing every day on these are all opportunities. And I think it's just going to make us stronger. If we're just watching Netflix all day long, we're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
and you'll run out of stuff anyway on Netflix.
Yeah, it's at some point. All right.
At least good stuff. You mentioned we talk about articles and reading as well. And I know on one social media post you mentioned you read an article, and Steve Bruin comes in and says, "What? Someone actually reads articles? You're the guy."
Yeah, he said somebody clicks on a link.
Yeah. So, but people do read and they get some information. But you're exactly right. We need to embrace everything. In fact, you're an avid reader.
Oh yes.
Every time I'm with you, you have some new book, audio book.
Yep. Yeah, I'm actually listening right now to, because it's audio, 19 hours on the Great Pandemic, the one that, the 1918 flu. And there is a lot of similarities, and it's pretty scary back then because we didn't have antibiotics or anything back then. So, but I'm working on that now. Jim Pemberton's got me going after yellow fever next. So I'm going to be an epidemic expert, I guess.
Yeah, there's great information out there and some scary stuff too. I've got this article on when is a pandemic over. I'm going to talk to Dr. Gavin McGregor Skinner about this in my next episode. but we have to wonder what we're going through now, and this is great information because it compares things back to the 1918 Spanish flu
Yes.
and that epidemic, that pandemic. Scary stuff. We don't have the numbers that they had back then as far as casualties, but we're interactive more than any other time in history. So,
sure.
But anyone that wants to see what can happen today can look at history and get an idea of that.
Yeah. And it's kind of amazing. And I realize that you're a little younger than me, but we were looking back at, remember the Hong Kong flu, or at least reading about it. The Hong Kong flu was actually in like 68 into 69, right? And almost 100,000 people died at that point in this country, right? And yet in that point in time, I was 21 years old. And I don't remember anybody even talking about it. And yet we had the same amount of people that died as of right now, 100,000 people from that. So Woodstock went on during that. And, you talk about clustering people together. So, I mean, but we didn't seem to have the same issues.
Yeah. That's interesting. The gathering together is going to happen. I'm seeing it right now.
Yep.
People are getting together. This article talks about rats back then, and they carried it. And now we're seeing news articles today about the rat population is exploding.
Yes.
Good time to be in pest control, maybe. But we're not. We're in cleaning.
No. But we are spraying pesticides.
We're killing stuff.
Yes, we are. And I think really what it comes down to, Jeff, is that I truly believe that there are going to be more of these epidemics or flus or whatever. This has been the warning shot for us in the cleaning industry to make sure that we are getting ready and getting trained either through GBAC or through trauma cleaning or forensic cleaning that's going on. And I know GBAC, which is part of your overall corporation, if you want to call it that there's no reason not to do that. When Kimberly Clark came out and gave that 10,000 scholarships, that was a great thing for our industry. And if somebody didn't take advantage of that, even if you're not didn't want to go out and do any of that work, that's still
knowledge.
It was a great tool. Education is always going to benefit you in the long run.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of those scholarships available. So those listening to this can go to issa.com and look that up or send me a note. So a couple more things, Bill. The state of the industry in the future. If you were to look at a year or two out, what would you predict is going to be common practice for us as cleaners?
I think that we're going to look a lot more, of course, having not necessarily PPE, but definitely the boots, the gloves, and then occasionally the mask, depending on the situation. I think, and I've been kind of bugging you about the vacuuming thing. That's trying to get you to talk to the people and get them on.
We've done that. There are more studies need to be done.
I was thrilled that you were doing that. At least got the flywheel going, I guess you would say. I've always believed that that's an important part, and I think it's going to be more important. I know that, as you probably realize, the majority of cleaners never vacuum carpets. They leave it up to the customer. I think today, those kind of basic things that we're doing that Dr. Berry talked about are going to be even more critical, and I think the companies that will be successful will be following those leads. I think if you're still trying to just do 3 rooms for $69 or something, you're never going to get there. I think the people are going to value cleaning more, and I think they will pay more for it as long as we convince ourselves and as long as we show the value. One of the things that I talked with Bill Yeadon about in an interview, and also I know that Sean Bission, the use of air scrubbers and that may become more of a value add for actual cleaning. Because as we keep hearing about things about the airborne stuff that could be an issue, if we are proactive on that, I think that's another tool. And they're making those things small enough, compact enough, just like they're making dehues now, to actually be part of your everyday cleaning. And I think those companies will succeed.
Yeah. The topic of vacuums, I have an interview with Dr. Gavin McGregor-Skinner, which is one of my Straight Talk segments.
Yes.
And we talked about vacuums, and when you turn them on, you shouldn't smell that funky odor. I think that's
you see that cloud dust?
That's going to change. I hate that. So cleaners need to change those bags and clean those filters. But you're right that we don't use them. At least
Yes.
that used to be the case. I'm guilty of it as well. It was towards the end of my cleaning career when I really embraced vacuuming. But I remember being at a summer fest in Atlanta. I think it was Bruce DeLoach's old place. And there were probably, back then, we would all bring our trucks, and there were probably 20 trucks in the back. We're all doing demos. We're all bragging about how great we are. You know how it is.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Fire up the machine.
Tim for tool time. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. There it is. But I just walked from truck to truck and I couldn't find a vacuum. I think I was with someone, maybe Lee Stockwell back then. I think it was perhaps Lee. We're just talking and walking, and it's like, there's not a vacuum here.
No.
That has to change. So that's
and I think it will. I really think it will. And I think it's up to people like us as trainers, as people that have a public persona, I guess you would say, that we need to continually harp on it. And if you say, I can't afford to do it, then you need to understand why you can't, because you're not providing value. There's somebody in your town that's charging a whole lot more money than you are. Why? Are they better? And of course that's, no, but there is a reason. People pay for things when they perceive value.
There's a question I ask my students in classes, especially business owners, but technicians as well. I ask them, think about what you do when you get to a job, the entire process, and what you charge, either per room or per foot. Put yourself as the customer, would you pay yourself that kind of money?
Yeah.
And they think about it, they're like, and usually the technician will be like, no way, that's way too much money. Maybe they're not getting paid enough to cover those costs.
Yeah, exactly.
But the business owners, you can see the wheel starting to spin.
Yeah.
If you think you're too expensive, you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
And adding that value that I know you guys talk about all the time, value added.
Yeah. Steve's been talking about that almost a quarter century now, at least for John Don, even before then, when he wasn't doing it for John Don. So,
yeah. Well, cool. Let's wrap up and talk about the most important topic of all. What are you drinking there?
Sumatra, baby.
Starbucks brand?
Yep, Starbucks brand. No, I'm also an independent coffee guy. I mean, I don't mind going to independent coffee. But I mean, when there's so many Starbucks that are I have 5 of them within probably a mile and a half of my house.
Yeah, you can cover that in about an hour.
Yeah. So, I walk down in the wintertime when I do my early morning walk. Some days it's so cold I go in just to get the warm cup around my hand, but.
Yeah, that's a big mug you got there. Hold that up.
Yeah,
that'll keep you going. I use a little small, mine's a Ember rechargeable. So
yeah, this is like a thermos, so it'll stay hot for hours and hours.
Yeah, and I also make my own beans. I roast them. So.
Oh, you roast your beans.
You're
not doing jerky, you're doing beans.
I do coffee beans and beef jerky. So very simple but rewarding hobbies. Yeah. And Starbucks when I'm out. So I do like this.
I'll tell you, I think you know send the people that you interview a little bag of beans to test them out.
I don't know. Have I ever given you any? I don't remember if I have.
I don't think so. No,
okay,
you tried to give me jerky, but I don't eat meat anymore. So I am for a couple of years.
Mr. Health that you are.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I know we've enjoyed a good steak in the past together, and I'm impressed.
Oh, I miss it. I do miss it.
Let's not even talk about it.
Okay.
Well, Bill, it's great catching up with you, and keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
I don't know what your long-term plans are, but I do know we have an event or two we'll be at together this year.
Yep, in December. Our favorite place, St. Pete.
Yeah, we'll do a restoration strategies, the 2-day class down there. I love going down there in December.
I know it.
Yeah.
Get the band back together.
The band, that's right. Yeah.
That's right.
You, Peter, and Sonny.
Yep.
So
looking forward to it.
All right. Well, take care of yourself, and we'll see you down the road.
All right.